please forgive the bad quality of audio due to the mask, but this is one of the first times I've really been out during quarantine, and so I thought it would be fun to sort of film a day in the life type video, because life as a multimedia creator during a lockdown has been incredibly difficult. So hopefully this video is something that, you know, will be very good for the legacy of the paper. I definitely want to make sure that it's not bad. So one of the things I've noticed about public spaces is people tend to be very respectful. I appreciate the distance thing. I hope that even in a world after all this is over, that remains, simply because I like having personal space. I've also noticed that people tend to try to make the best of the situation, and like, I've seen most restaurants and stores be pretty good about following guidelines and such, simply because it's within their best interest to. I often wonder about how a post-quarantine world is going to look. This is kind of weird for me because this truly is like the third time since everything's reopened that I've left my house just due to my own health issues. And it is absolutely astonishing to me that, like, you know, it's kind of a reality check thing. Just the whole concept of the whole world moves, you know, and it continues and it doesn't stop, even if everything feels like it has. Because admittedly, I recently had my birthday, and I don't even feel like it's been the longest and shortest time ever. Because truthfully, it's jarring to me that this much time has passed, that we're almost at the end of summer, but it also feels like it's been longer. So I just don't know. I've noticed a lot of fancier cars than usual. I wonder if people just want to drive them to get miles on them, keep them in check. But yeah, I mean, obviously there's been, oh, there's a crow on top of the bookstore. It's a crow. Oh, multiple crows. That's not a good omen, but that's fine. I actually think crows are very wonderful birds. Intuitive. But yeah, it's all about perspective. And I'm a very optimistic person, so I tend to try to see the best of every scenario. Now, obviously, even I struggle to see the best in a scenario like this. However, I've noticed that this has kind of forced us to re-examine a lot of our values, to re-examine family relationships, and to see how we're treating our family. And because America is a very individualistic culture, we have a lot of families that just do not get along, and what this has done is ultimately cause the gap of our familial relationships to sort of, whether we like it or not, we have to confront them. And I feel like that's been hard, especially for a lot of college-aged people, because your early 20s tend to be when you're most rebellious. And especially in an area like Ohio where almost everyone is very traditional, it is hard to be a rebellious person. And I don't mean that in any negative sort of way, it's just, it's exceptionally hard to do things that aren't viewed as traditional. And I've seen a lot of familial confrontations with, you know, people kind of recollecting, because we're all displaced, we're all living wherever we can live, you know. Pretty much every college student, thankfully we're not a dormitory school, but pretty much every dormitory school, everyone's been forced back home. So there's been this kind of reckoning with like being all stuck together. And it's very unfortunate because, you know, this should be a wonderful time for familial bonds, but to put it very simply, there's absolutely no, like, there's a good, fixing a relationship is never as easy as sticking two people together. Oh, that's wonderful, a plus size model who looks happy. But it's never as simple as sticking people together 24/7. It takes a lot of time and effort to, like, now, like, my sister came here with me, but we're not together simply because we've been together so long. And right, she works at a daycare, so I'm fortunate enough to have time to myself, but I still share the house with my mom. And so even then, it's still two people stuck together all the time. And I love my family. Of course, you know, we have our ups and downs, who doesn't? But I couldn't imagine being quarantined with people or with a family that was already estranged, you know? And it is truly, we're facing two pandemics simultaneously. We're facing the actual physical real pandemic and then the fear and terror in which it has caused. And the fear and terror has been exceptionally disheartening because we live in such a polarizing time where there truly is option A or option B, and we've managed to polarize a pandemic. It's like, you know, it's absolutely unreal what has happened here. And I wish that, you know, it wouldn't be this way. I wish that we could have been like other nations and have gotten to the point where we can confidently reopen again. But I don't believe that will ever be the case. At least not for another 6 months. Hopefully, at least only just 6 months. But if we're being realistic, 2021 doesn't seem like a good year either. If I had to spend my 21st in quarantine, obviously that's a very selfish to be like, oh no, I have to, but you know, like, it's a different reality. It's an exceptionally different reality. And apologies for the break of the continual flow. It was just, there was copyright music playing, and editing that out would have been absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, it's disheartening to say the least that This is such a pretty fountain. I've always loved this area. But yeah, it is definitely a hopeless time. And it's painful to live in such a hopeless time. And I hope it will be better. I hope that, you know, we as a society can sort of come to terms with what it is and unite and move on. But that's exceptionally unlikely. So this concludes my thoughts from the Greene.